Today's stories include God of War on Amazon gets a new showrunner, Prince of Persia's devs get moved to some surprising new projects, and the day before devs cancel their Kickstarter and announce another new game. We'll have all this and more because this is Kinda Funny Games Daily. What's up and welcome to Kinda Funny Games Daily for Wednesday, October 23rd, 2024. Of course, I am your host, Tim Geddes, and today I am joined by the host of JK Games, Jerica Hanna.
I'm back again.
First time with me, though. I've never done a show with you, so I'm really excited about this. This should be good. And you were just telling me some exciting news. You want to tell the people about it?
Well, I got a lot of exciting things happening, but ultimately, this is my first week as a starving artist. I am going in to the deep end and saying, hey, I am going to make video game content and not make as much money, but I'm having so much fun. Literally, last night, me and Kayla, my co-host for JK Games Podcast, we streamed a little bit of Don't Scream. It had like 20 people watching. Usually we have like 3 to 5, because I was like, oh, wow. So 20 people's like a million, basically, in my book.
I that's how it goes, man. I'm so proud of y'all. That's incredible stuff. And I'm sure that many more people watching today, after how much you're going to crush this show. I believe in you so much. They're going to go follow you over at Jerkachu on Twitter and Instagram. And then what is the Twitch? What's the Twitch we're pushing?
JK Games Podcast. That's where you can find us, and pretty much on any socials.
Well,
we are going to eventually have routine episodes every week. But me and Kayla like to stream scary stuff together because we like just putting ourselves through misery, pain.
I mean, it's
suffering.
that time. It's that season.
That's what we love.
We have the whole set. I'll allow it now. We're a week out from Halloween. This is when I start to feel like it's appropriate to really start getting spooky and scary. So I feel you for celebrating that way. We're going to celebrate today too, but we'll talk about that in just a second. Because remember, this is Kinda Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday, we run you through the nerdy video game news that you need to know about live on YouTube, Twitch, and podcast services around the globe. If you love what we do, support us with the Kinda Funny membership on Patreon or YouTube to get all of our shows ad-free. Watch us record them live and get a daily exclusive show. For a chance to be part of the show, you can submit your thoughts and opinions as YouTube Super Chats as we go, just like Cognitive Clips just did, saying, let Jerica host. I agree with that. A little housekeeping for you. We are an 11-person business all about live talk shows. Today, after Games Daily, you got a whole fun-filled day to hang out with us. We're doing a GAMESCAST that's going to be all about Blessing's New York Comic-Con panel for Secret Level, the new Amazon Prime show coming out, the anthology video game thing. So that's going to be very, very fun. And then after that, it's going to be Greg reacting to the Fallout Day 2024 stream. He thinks Fallout 3 Remastered is going to be announced. I think he's crazy, but you're going to have to watch along live to find out who's right and who's wrong. And then after that, the stream is going to be a very special one. Alan Wake 2, The Lake House. We are partnering with NVIDIA, of course, and Greg and Andy are going to take a first look at the just launched haunting new expansion for Alan Wake 2, The Lake House. Our friends at NVIDIA partnered with us to show you every creepy detail on the RTX 40 series GPUs. Alan Wake 2 is pretty much the poster child for how advanced a modern PC game can look. Full ray tracing with the AI-powered performance of NVIDIA DLSS 3.5 to push all the sliders to max graphics with a huge frame rate to play the game all the way up to glorious 4K. It's kind of the perfect time to play this, it being spooky season. So come join us and maybe turn down the lights low or hide under a blanket as Greg and Andy explore the mysteries of the Lake House. That's going to be awesome. If you're a Kinda Funny member, of course, you'll get the daily Gregway later today. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Delaney Twining and Carl Jacobs. Today, we're brought to you by New World Eternum, Phasmophobia, Marvel Snap, and Shady Rays, but we'll tell you all about that later. For now, let's begin with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. Time for some news. We have 5 stories today.
Oh, Baker's dozen.
Shout out to the chat complimenting my hair. I appreciate it. I got my hair cut. I feel like I'm back to being me. Jerica, it's been a rough go. It's been the longest time that I haven't got a haircut since the pandemic. So I was getting bushy. It was bad.
You had a beanie on yesterday. That was yesterday, right?
That was yesterday. That was a sad time for us all.
Fine.
I had to wear the beanie because I had to go get my hair cut midday, and I don't like letting them wash my hair. I'm sensitive. I'm a weirdo, but now I'm happy. I feel like I'm back. But let's get to the story. Story number 1. God of War, Amazon TV series, enlists Ronald D. Moore as the new showrunner. This comes from Joe Otterson at Variety. The God of War TV series adaptation at Amazon has found its new showrunner. Variety has confirmed that Ronald D. Moore has boarded the show as writer, showrunner, and executive producer. Moore joins the series shortly after it was reported that original showrunner Rafi Judkins had exited. Judkins left God of War along with executive producers Hawk Otsby and Mark Fergus. They'd reportedly completed multiple scripts for the series, but Amazon and fellow studio Sony Pictures Television decided to go in a different creative direction. Moore recently returned to the Sony Pictures Television fold with a new overall deal after having departed the independent studio for a deal with Disney and 20th Television. He had previously been with Sony for roughly a decade, during which time he produced hit shows like Outlander and For All Mankind. An Outlander prequel series and a For All Mankind spinoff are currently in the works. Moore is also known for his work in the Star Trek franchise, working on shows like Next Generation, Voyager, and Deep Space Nine, as well as writing the films Star Trek Generations and Star Trek First Contact. He's perhaps best known for his reboot of Battlestar Galactica, which ran for 4 seasons on Sci-Fi, then Sci-Fi Channel, and also spawned 2 TV movies wrapping up in 2009. A prequel series, Caprica, aired on Sci-Fi for 1 season in 2010. Jerica, does this do anything for you? Are you a God of War person? You a TV person?
Both of those things. I am both of those people. Yeah, I didn't realize who this was, so I had to do a little Google search, and I was like, oh, For All Mankind. Love that show. Apple TV Plus. Had a slow start, but I love space sci-fi. I don't know anything about Battlestar Galactica or the other stuff, but seems this guy, knows his business with at least sci-fi, so I don't know. I'm excited. And then, yeah, God of War. Anyway, I can see that that story told in another way. Has it been confirmed if it's just like an adaptation of the 2018 game, or is there like a new direction they're going in? I don't know.
We don't know. And it sounds like they don't know either. It sounds like they had some plans and they're not happy with them. So, yeah, I'm with you. I was not familiar with this, with Ronald, but yeah, this resume kind of speaks for itself. Sounds like he has his head wrapped around sci-fi really well. And more than that, both movies and like epic stories and TV. And you bringing up the Apple TV Plus, I feel like that. When I hear Apple TV, I think of quality. To me, they are the streaming service besides HBO that if the show's on that network, I kind of expect a little bit more from it. I don't expect any marketing at all. I don't expect them to talk about what's on their streaming service, but I expect that if I watch it, it's going to be at least decent. God of War is, to your point about what is it going to be, a direct adaptation of the 2018 game, or is it going to be something different? I feel like God of War has the potential to be so many different things and done well. Like, I feel like it's easy to mess up, but I think that there's a lot of ways they could get it right. I kind of think that just directly adapting it would probably be the simplest choice for them, but I do think that's the most risky because so much of what made that story special, I think, was the gameplay of it and the fact that it was all one shot, continuous behind the camera or behind Kratos and going through and you being that character. So translating that is definitely possible, but I just feel like it might not work as well.
Yeah, I consider, like, I'm just obviously comparing, with The Last of Us recently, with season 1, granted a couple of episodes were definitely new content, but most of that is also, adapted directly from the game. It's, from my perspective, I could go either way. I just love when any of my favorite games are adapted to some kind of medium that's television or movies, because I get to finally talk to my friends that don't play games about it. So that's really where I'm the most excited. But yeah, I'm sort of in your boat too. Like, I think that would be the safest direction. It would be cool. They have so much lore. They could go, to your point again, like so many different directions, and a lot of characters. Does Kratos need to be the main character in this? Like, I don't know, but I would be fine with, Atreus or somebody else, like, to take the spotlight in the series.
I feel like it needs to be Kratos. Like, I think it would be a pretty big miss if it wasn't, just because to your point about wanting to share our love of these games with our friends that don't necessarily play them. I feel like Kratos kind of is that, at least the entry point, right? The introduction to the franchise. So yeah, it just thinking about like what you're saying of Last of Us. Like, I do think that the story of God of War 2018 definitely works as a season of TV, but I get a little concerned about the budget of it because Last of Us, like, there's a lot that you need to do in terms of the set of like the cities looking all decrepit and covered in vines and stuff. And then there's minimal of the oh my god, what are they called? The enemies.
Clickers.
Yeah. At least season 1, there wasn't that many of them. But I feel like God of War, like even just thinking about the beginning of that game, like the fight with the stranger could look real goofy if it wasn't done with care and the budget to like really make it look good. You know what I mean?
I haven't really considered that. You are so right. You know, I didn't watch all of the Halo series. I watched a little bit of the first season, and like there was points of that show that looked really good, but then there was points that I was like, I don't know. So yeah, that already grounded in not reality that we are familiar with, but the abilities and powers, yeah, that would be really hard without a lot of money and talent.
Exactly. It's funny, yeah, you bring up Halo. Like I watched season 1 of that show just because I really wanted a Halo show to be good, and it wasn't. And then Halo season 2, I was like, I'm just not even gonna do this. But I have watched like clips of like the fight scenes, and there's some cool moments, but even then it looks kind of goofy. It doesn't look like it was given the juice that it needs to like pull off what made the game special, the big set pieces. And God of War, like there's some major I mean, even just thinking about not just set pieces, but the sets, like the giant, like all the giant things, you know what I mean? Like I feel like it's going to be hard to get this right. But you know, I was big up in Apple TV earlier. Like Amazon can bring the heat too. Like some of their shows look great. I mean, even The Boys, I feel, while not like the most visually impressive show ever, I feel like it goes for a style where their superhero stuff works and it doesn't distract me. I don't look at it and go, oh, this is ugly. And I'm just more like, oh, cool, I'm in this world and I believe in it. So yeah. And people bring Rings of Power. So it's like they could do it. That's Amazon as well. So
I forget about that. Started it, got a little bored, and I got hated on for calling it boring. But maybe I'll go back to it at some point. Because isn't there another season of that too coming?
Season 2 just happened, right? Like
geez, so
yeah. I'm pretty. I don't know. Chat, correct me where I'm wrong here, but season 2 I think just ended like a month or two ago, and I think people really liked it compared to season 1. They did.
Like I was saying, I got hated on. They're like calling it boring. They're like, just please give it a chance. I'm like, okay, one day. One day.
Is there any game that you're waiting to get the announcement of a movie or TV show? Because I feel like at this point, like everything is either in the works or already happened. But is there one thing for you that you're like, I'm waiting for it?
Mass Effect. Let's go. Yeah. I'm so ready. Like there was rumors, populating around like a few years ago, and I don't know if that's ever gonna happen. But God, I would love. It doesn't have to be Commander Shepard. It can be literally any story in that universe. That or Destiny. I would love to see something from Destiny, like animation, live action. I don't care, but I think animation would be really cool for Destiny, an animated show. Yeah. But yeah, Mass Effect definitely up there on my list.
Hell yeah. All right, moving on to story number 2. Yesterday we were talking about the Prince of Persia Lost Crown devs, and now we have some more details on it. Prince of Persia devs moved to 3 new projects at Ubisoft. This comes from Tom Henderson at Insider Gaming. Yesterday, a new rumor revealed that Ubisoft had disbanded its Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown team after the game failed to meet internal expectations. It was somewhat of a murky picture as to what actually happened, but Ubisoft has since clarified in a statement confirming some of the details. In a statement to Eurogamer, the publisher said that the Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown team has moved on to other projects that will benefit from their expertise, and that Ubisoft is focused on making the game available to more players. Insider Gaming understands the decision to move on from Prince of Persia: Lost Crown, and any potential sequel was made around May of this year and was due to the game missing internal expectations. Sources say that Ubisoft was expecting The Lost Crown to sell similarly to the biggest Metroidvanias in the market, with millions of units sold in a relatively short space of time. God, that upsets me. Prince of Persia: Lost Crown has sold approximately 1 million units as of the time of writing. As for which projects Prince of Persia: Lost Crown developers have joined, it's understood that the majority have since moved on to 3 different projects. Most of the team has joined development of Beyond Good and Evil 2. Okay. Which was revived internally in 2017. Around a dozen employees have moved on to Project Over, the next mainline Ghost Recon game, and around a dozen have moved on to Project Steamboat, a Rayman remake in development at Ubisoft Milan. I can get behind that. Beyond Good and Evil 2 is a project still a few years away. You don't say. With developers across the entire publisher confused as to why Ubisoft continues to invest tens of millions a year in development, which it's never likely to get back. Project Steamboat has also proved somewhat unpopular internally. Interesting. As original creator Michael Ansel looms over the project as a consultant. Oh, Ubisoft. Jerica, what do you think about this?
Unfortunately, it's not surprising. I didn't, I heard the news yesterday about the devs that were on Lost Crown, and that was really just, I guess to everybody, it's sort of baffling. I personally didn't play it, but my girlfriend did. She ended up getting the platinum, and I was like, well, if I'm gonna be honest, like my girlfriend's more of a gamer than me. Like platinums all these games, they're really tough games, loves them, and I know if she's dialed in, I'm like that should be a success story. She's played it that much. I know it's a success. So, hearing that the people behind working on this game's like just getting thrown into other stuff, sort of, it is disappointing. Because I wanted to see more from that game. I was going to get to it, and I still will.
You should. You definitely should. Do you like Metroidvanias at all?
Yeah, I do. It's just a little bit of a challenge for me. Like Ori was the last one I really got into, and I beat the first one, and I didn't think I was going to get into it, but then I sort of started liking it. That's when the challenging stuff starts happening. I'm a gamer, but like I like to play on medium.
Yeah.
Sometimes easy.
But I have great news for you for this game because
okay.
I think that it is one of the best design. If you liked Ori and that was your vibe for Metroidvania, I do think that this is like very similar to it in terms of being not just combat focused and traversal focused, but combining the two into one. But on top of that, the difficulty settings are fantastic. Like there's options to change everything. And like if at any point, if you're getting frustrated with a platforming challenge, you can essentially just skip it, like, or not. Like, and then you can go back and forth. You can change the difficulty on the fly. Like, I think that they did a great job with that. I also just think they did a great job with the goddamn game, and I'm never going to stop talking about it. It's my game of the year so far. I love it so much. I want more people to play it. Maybe we could turn this around, everybody. I don't think so, but man, this game is so special. And so, yeah, hearing now officially that it's happening, that they're not making a sequel to it, that it didn't perform well, and now these people are being moved on to these projects. It's breaking down the three projects here, right? Beyond Good and Evil 2. Like, it's so easy to dunk on and make jokes, but the reality is there is no way that this project comes out and is good enough to deserve the time and money being put into it to be able to make any of that back. It's going to cause so many problems. People are going to fucking lose their jobs because of this game. Right?
Yeah. I sort of, I know it's still a project people are working on, but God, it's been so long ago when that was announced. Now, at this point, it's almost one of those magical games. Will it ever come out? And when it does, like, I just don't. It's got so many expectations, basically just on how long it's been in development.
Yeah. Crush Lemon says, sorry, man, I want Beyond Good and Evil 2 more than I want Prince of Persia. That's totally fair, but, like, what we need to understand here is that Prince of Persia, Ubisoft failed Prince of Persia. The scope of that game should have been different than what it was in terms of expectations for what the final product is, which is a critically acclaimed game that they put out to die in so many ways with not putting it on Steam day one, having the whole early access like they do. They priced it entirely wrong. And then on the flip side, Beyond Good and Evil is going to end up being one of the most expensive games ever made. And in order for that to be a success, it doesn't just need to be well reviewed and sell well. It needs to sell astronomically well. Like, that's the problem, is like there's no way it could possibly live up to it's not about the hype, it's about the needs for that game to be considered a success. Like, that's very troubling. And then the next Ghost Recon game, yeah, I mean, of course that's going to happen. That makes sense for them to be doing. And a Rayman remake, like, it sucks that it sounds like they're not into it internally, because like I'm super down for that. And the team that made Prince of Persia worked on Rayman Origins and Legends as well. So there's some pedigree there. And the idea of it being called Project Steamboat, I don't know what that could entail, but like Steamboat Willie, the Mickey
That's
short.
where my head went.
Yeah, like if because Rayman had Rayman 1, if they're talking about the original Rayman 1 remake, like that already had a very cartoony, stylish vibe to it on the PlayStation 1. So taking that and kind of cupheading it a bit, like, giving it an even more distinct old-timey art style, I think could be very, very cool. But man, yeah, this is definitely a bummer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just wonder how many like other projects have been like sort of not gone out to die, but just siphoned resources from with Beyond Good and Evil 2. At this point, it's probably wild.
Yeah, and I mean, just God, I hate just feeling like I'm going in circles with this conversation, but like, what is up with Ubisoft? Is there any way that they can get out of this rut? Like, it feels very, very dire for the position that they're in with the amount of people that work there, the amount of teams that they have, the amount of IP that they are in charge of. Like, it feels like they've kind of squandered so much goodwill with consumers, and more it sounds like their teams even aren't happy with the direction of where things are going. Like, it's very worrisome because it sounds a lot like what happened at Activision, of all these smaller teams, even if they put out big hit games, like things like Crash Bandicoot selling 4 million copies, millions of copies, like, and then they get just put into being Overwatch maps and Overwatch character things and all that. And it's like, all right, well, Activision has Overwatch and Call of Duty, these like big cash cow games. What does Ubisoft have? You know, when their Star Wars games not performing where they needed to, if Assassin's Creed Shadows doesn't hit the way they needed to, what do they have?
Don't worry about it. Splinter Cell's going to turn it all around. You know what I mean? 10 years from now,
10 years from now,
when the Splinter Cell remake comes out and 13 people buy it, it's going to be incredible.
Roger, let me pitch you something, all right?
Pitch it to me.
Next Summer Game Fest, all right?
Yeah.
Ubisoft Forward. Eves comes out, and he's just like, we know we fucked this all up, but check this out. Everything goes black, and you hear, and then the green light comes on, and everyone goes, ah! And they're like, wait, didn't this already happen? Didn't this happen like 10 times already?
Haven't I imagined this for the last 15 years? Every single E3, I'm like, just end the conference with the goggles. That's all I need. And they never do it. They never do it. Fucking.
Oh, man. Well, everybody, we're going to keep going. We're going to have more stories to talk about, but we're going to do that right after a word from our sponsors.
This episode is brought to you by Phasmophobia. The genre-defining horror game is finally coming to consoles on October 29th, 2024.
What did you see? Okay, never mind, we're coming. Hello?
That's right, just in time for Halloween, the phenomenon that is Phasmophobia enters console early access on PS5, PSVR 2, and Xbox Series X/S with full cross-play supported across the platforms. Join the already almost 20 million players on Steam, including our very own Snowbike Mike, and get ready for some spine-chilling ghost hunting with up to 3 friends. Making sure you work as a team and utilize your equipment is key to making it out alive. It's almost time, Ghost Hunters. Phasmophobia is finally entering early access on PS5, PSVR 2, and Xbox Series X/S on October 29th. Wishlist now and prepare for the terrifying ghost hunts that await.
This episode is brought to you by New World Eternum. New World Eternum is a thrilling action RPG experience for console and PC players with a vibrant world, vast and beautiful setting, dynamic real-time action combat, and the freedom for players to choose how to forge their destiny. Combat is skill-based and dynamic, incorporating swords, guns, and sorcery so that you can build one character to rule them all as you explore Eternum and unravel the mysteries of the supernatural island that you can't leave. You love playing RPGs alone? You can in New World Eternum, or play cooperatively with your friends as you complete quests, get better gear, and level up. Greg played this at Summer Game Fest on PlayStation 5 and was caught off guard by how much he enjoyed it and how many hours he said he could see himself sinking into the final product. There's boss fights, cool enemies, crossplay, resource gathering, and crafting. So yeah, this sounds like a Greg game. New World Eternum is available now on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. This episode is brought to you by Marvel Snap. Y'all know Marvel Snap completely took over my life when it burst on the scene 2 years ago. I love it so much that I even mentioned it in my wedding vows, because to this day, my wife Gia is so obsessed that she has not missed a single day of completing her daily challenges. Marvel Snap is an award-winning collectible card game that combines deep strategy, a unique snapping mechanic, and your favorite Marvel characters with thousands of unique card art variants created by renowned artists to collect collect, and use. Each game only takes about 3 minutes, so you can get in and out wherever you are. And with more than 270 cards in Marvel Snap with over 2,000 unique art variants, you'll always find some new fun. Marvel Snap just celebrated their 2nd anniversary, and to say thank you, they're throwing a party. Boosters, credits, variants, borders, and more are all up for grabs just by logging in daily, starting on their anniversary, October 18th. Download the Marvel Snap app now, available on the App Store, Google Play, and Steam, or visit marvelsnap.com to learn more. This episode is brought to you by Shady Rays. Get ready for the season ahead with quality shades built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium, polarized shades that won't break the bank. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company that offers an unrivaled product that's just as good as any expensive pair that we've worn. Y'all know I've been outside in the sun a lot playing Pokemon Go, and it's such a great experience wearing Shady Rays when I am out and about looking dope. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost or broken replacements. If you lose or break your pair, even on day one, they told us they will send you a brand new pair. No questions asked. Exclusively for y'all, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal. Head to shadyrays.com and use code KINDOFFUNNY for 50% off 2 or more pairs of shades. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Again, shadyrays.com, use code KINDOFFUNNY for 50% off 2 or more pairs of shades. We got a couple super chats. We got Foxy Steve writing in saying, what's more likely to happen? Ubisoft being sold or a massive shift in leadership? Something has got to give. I truly feel like it's inevitable that there's some type of acquisition and just butchering of Ubisoft. Like I'm really, really, really starting to lose faith. I mean, I've been losing faith, but like I feel like by the day now, it's like, oh man, I just don't have much hope. What do you think?
Yeah. I still think it was, obviously they wanted to take their time with the Assassin's Creed Shadows, but I that was a big bummer and just like weird having no big game at the end of the year from them. And to be pushed all the way to February was an interesting move. It's sort of strange. It's just strange.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. I'm surprised they haven't. I don't know how all that works in the business world, but been bought by somebody or acquired in a sense. Like I have no idea.
Yeah. Well, Alex Frazier writes in and says Jerica's right. Rings of Power is boring. And then Samson L says, let's go Jerica from Samson XP and Sir DRJN. So hell yeah, a lot of Jerica support, which I appreciate. Let's get to story number 3. The day before dev cancels failing Kickstarter and announces another game in the same breath. What world do we live in, man? This goes from Ryan Dinsdale at IGN. Fantastic, who released the utterly disastrous the day before in December 2023 before pretending to shut down, resurfaced in September, asked for money for a new game, the physics-based multiplayer game Escape Factory. It's now canceled this project, however, after it reached just 15% of its Kickstarter goal, with $3,146 raised of a $20,000 goal. Our campaign on Kickstarter is unlikely to reach our goal, Fantastic said in a statement published to Twitter announcing another game. After careful analysis and discussion with the team, we've decided that our Escape Factory project has not generated enough interest. The Kickstarter reached the 15.73% mark after 4 weeks. With this in mind, we've decided to temporarily suspend work on Escape Factory and postpone it until a more appropriate time. Fantastic's now allegedly working on Items, an action horror prop hunt game. Your wishes are very important to us, it said. This is exactly what many of you have been waiting for. No Kickstarter was announced, but Fantastic said it may return to the crowdfunding route or explore other options once a demo for the game is made. Development will require significant resources, so Fantastic has decided to release mobile games to support the process. This is just so bleak. All funds generated from these apps will go directly into development, it said. We believe this will help us create the game of your dreams. Your dreams, not their dreams. You have any thoughts on this, Jerica?
I didn't know that they were working on another game. Had no idea. This developer, I just remember when the news broke about the day before, and which very interesting if you go back and just like watch the initial trailer and then the game itself. So I had no idea they had a new game they're trying to get going.
This is just wild. I mean, the part that blows me away the most, and there's a lot to be blown away by here, but they're going to make mobile games. They decided to release mobile games to support, just to get money. Like, that is the most blatant, just fuck it, we don't care thing I've ever heard. Like, the lack of care of it. Like, I understand that mobile games can just be this cash cow, like, but that shouldn't be, you shouldn't say it. That's the part you're not supposed to say. Wild.
It's very strange. You know, I'm not this expert, but like I just feel like, am I wrong to say, like, after the game the day before, like, it's sort of, my mind's blown that there's another game that they were trying to make and get money for. Like, I thought that was over. Like, I had no idea.
Yeah, and I mean, them doing that is like, first off, bad look, and then it not working, and then you're like, it just feels like they just keep getting pushed down from, like, all right, well, this scam didn't work. Oh, this scam didn't work. Like, is this scam gonna work? Like, we shouldn't let it work. This does not sound good. Oh man, what a world. Story number 4. Xbox Series X is finally outselling the Series S. This comes from Rebecca Valentine at IGN. It took 4 years, but the Xbox Series X is finally outselling the S in the United States by a slim margin, according to this month's report from Circana. Circana, which tracks U.S. game spending in dollars, reports that the Xbox Series S accounted for 58% of all total Xbox Series units sold in September and 51% of all Xbox sales of Xbox Series units sold life to date. This was especially notable given that when we last checked, the Series S was well ahead. During a big leak of Xbox court documents last year, we learned that as of April 2022, about 75% of Xbox Series owners globally owned an S and 25.1% owned an X. At the time, both Circana's Matt Piscatella and Nico Partners' Daniel Ahmad clarified to IGN that the split in 2023 was closer to 50-50, but that the Series S still had the edge at the time. So in the US, at least, it looks like the X has pulled ahead. Overall, though, spending in September was down 44% year over year across all hardware in its lowest point since 2019. Xbox hardware sales were down 54%, PlayStation was down 45%, and the Nintendo Switch was down 23%. PS5 was the best seller in both unit and dollar sales, 40% of PS5 unit sales in September, and 18% of PS5 sales life to date were digital. And the PlayStation Portal was the best-selling accessory of the month, with 3% of all PS5 owners in the US having bought one. 3% of all PS5 users. That's a big for the Portal.
Yeah, that's really surprising.
Also notable was the resurgence on the charts of Dead Rising, which leaped from number 502 last month to number 11. Roger?
What?
You're not alone. Dead Rising.
Oh, shit.
Rose
Fuck.
the charts. It leaped from number 502 to number 11.
Oh, my God. That's
Number
huge.
11.
Number 1 next
Damn.
month? Question mark?
Right, we're on the way.
We're going up.
We're on the way. Jerica, do you have an Xbox?
I do.
Which one?
I have the X.
There we go.
You listen, and honestly, like, the only reason I got it at the time, because I got it a few months, obviously, I'm not into I could care less where I'm mainly playing my games. I just play where my friends are, and I play where the games are at that I really enjoy. So PlayStation's primarily where I play, my PlayStation 5. But I got the Xbox just because I wanted to play the new Halo game at the time. So that's like why I bought it. So I'm curious to, as time has progressed, like, wonder what's making people finally upgrade their hardware. And, maybe it is finally, for some folks, like, it's finally time to replace the console so I can play some of these newer titles, which, there's more, in my eyes, there's more to play first party on my PlayStation right now. But, it's interesting to see that Series X jumping up.
It is, and I can't really put my finger on what the cause might be. Now, the numbers aren't dramatic enough that it feels like, a major shift is actually happening. It just kind of feels like, we're still pretty close to that 50-50.
Yeah.
But because my first theory would have been they're putting out that new Series X, the discless one. But that's not out yet. Like, that comes out in a couple weeks. So I'm pretty sure.
Is there a white console now too?
That's the one I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's like mid-November or early November coming out. So
I know a friend that's just simply waiting till they have a white console so everything matches. So
yeah. But then the other thing is Game Pass, right? When you look at Game Pass of like what could be an entry point for people to want to either upgrade their Xbox, but I think more likely jump into the Xbox Series family for the first time. And I think the obvious answer at this point is Call of Duty, right? Where Call of Duty has been associated with Xbox for a long time. I think PlayStation kind of has been winning that this generation, but I think that's just a numbers game. But I think Call of Duty being offered on Game Pass, like, it's going to be really interesting just to talk about that, right? Like the effects of that. Like for years, we've talked about Call of Duty just being this dominant force that's unstoppable. The sales charts are just always covered with Call of Duty. A new one comes out, it's number one. And I still expect that to be the case, but with the introduction in Game Pass, that's going to change those numbers. So it's just going to be interesting to see how the numbers shake out across hardware sales being affected because of Call of Duty, but then also Game Pass affecting the sales of the different SKUs of Call of Duty itself. So we'll have to wait a couple weeks to figure that out.
Yeah, I'm curious because, like with most, I've been trying to think about like Game Pass and like how is it, I don't know if it's really, is it helping Xbox? Is it part of like the reason to have an Xbox for more, the general audience? I think it is. And yeah, to your point, like as far as like as soon as some of these games start coming out, Call of Duty obviously being this option now, like I would expect to see that, hey, they might sell more hardware, especially given that's the thing now.
Yeah. I feel like Game Pass is one of the best things to ever happen to consumers. At least in the short term. I have much greater fears about the long-term effects that it's going to have on game development. But just looking at it as a value and a deal to gamers, whether they're hardcore or just a little bit more casual but still interested, obviously there's such a great value proposition there. And with Call of Duty being released on Game Pass this year, I do think this is a turning point. It might not be the turning point, but a turning point in the general public finally wrapping their head around, oh, it's Netflix for games, and that meaning something to them that actually could result in them investing in the Xbox ecosystem. Because I feel like so far, anecdotally, but I can say this about many different friends that I have, when I try to explain Game Pass to them, they don't believe it still. They don't believe that it's like, oh, it really is. You just get to, it's just like Netflix, but for games. Like they feel like there's some catch. And I feel like Xbox just hasn't had that one anchor point to be able to be like, well, because once you're in, you get it. Once you're in, you see how it works. But I think that Call of Duty, it's not a surprise, but I think Call of Duty is going to be the biggest example of that we've seen thus far.
I agree.
And then, just looking at some of the games here, like number one, we have EA Sports FC 25, Astro Bot at number 2, Madden NFL 25, Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. Of course, that's just physical. It doesn't include the digital sales, so it being that high, very impressive and good for my girl Zelda. EA Sports College Football 25. It's sports game season, We're just going to see all of them popping up here, which makes sense. Star Wars Outlaws at number 6, NBA 2K 25. Okay. Yeah, a little bit of surprise.
Yeah.
And then Hogwarts Legacy still going very strong at number 8. Final Fantasy 16 at number 12. That's another one that I didn't expect to see.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh, and also Marvel vs. Capcom Arcade Classics at 16. Hell yeah. I'm happy that people actually came out to support that, because it is, as popular as it is still a niche thing when all is said and done. Patrick writes in with a super chat saying, a quick thing back on the Ubi convo. It feels incredibly irresponsible to decide the fate of years of work after only a few weeks. Do better, Ubi. Amen. Couldn't have said it better myself. And then Mene Mr. Mustard says, Tim, have you played Guacamelee? Those games are some of my favorites, and everything you say you love about Prince of Persia applies to Guacamelee 1 and 2. I haven't. And it's all because I didn't have a Vita until way later, and I know Greg loves it. I know Barrett loves Guacamelee, so I should make some time, because
Guacamelee rules.
The art style is awesome. Yeah, Roger, tell me a little bit about it.
I mean, that was like my first Metroidvania that I ever really played, and I just fell in love with it. Yeah, I never finished Guacamelee 2, but Guacamelee 1 on the Vita was a transcendent experience. That was an incredible time. And also, Greg's in the game technically, right?
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's more of a reason there.
I was typing it. How long is Guacamelee? How long is guacamole good for? Pops up.
How long is it?
Not long.
Yeah.
I feel like not long. 2 hours.
Yeah, and if
it's
you get
brown,
and
I
if you
don't
get
eat it.
if you get the guacamole from the grocery store and it's like, oh, it lasts like 2 weeks, it's like, oh no, you don't want to eat that.
You don't want to eat
Yeah,
that.
that's not real. That's
6 hours.
Mm-mm.
6 hours is what they're saying for guacamole.
Oh, I thought we were talking about guacamole.
Yeah.
I was like, that's really low.
That's very funny. All right, we talked a lot about big things. You know, the Xbox Series X is a lot bigger than the Xbox Series S. Real talk, I know I'm about to do the segue, but I think it's more important to talk about how small the Xbox Series S is. Like, everyone watching right now, and Jerica, do you have any frame of reference for how small the Xbox Series S is?
No, I don't.
It is the
this a queue up
tiniest.
for something?
I'm going to get it. I'm going to get the Series S right now because I need to show everybody.
Let me
One
see
second.
it.
I like how he left. I could have just done that, right? Like I could have just got the Series S, but he's walking. He's walking over there. Series S is hella small. I mean, I take it to when I get my infusions for my Crohn's disease. Like I bring it to the office with the X
Wow.
screen. Like it's like put it in the backpack. It is so small.
Never seen one in real life.
Oh my gosh.
So
I mean, it's a
I haven't really thought about that
Even
till
if you
just
don't
now.
play games on it, it's a nice paperweight. It's very cute. It's nice to have on the desk. Makes you look like a real gamer. Tim's here.
Okay.
He has the Series S.
Look how small this is.
Yeah. So
This, like, compare this to the iPhone. Like,
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
it is
oh
the
my
tiniest
God.
little dude ever. Like, compare it to this MacBook.
Wow.
Like, how does this play all the games? I don't believe it.
You could have another one of those in the house somewhere. Play in the bathroom.
For reals. Like,
Mount
I
that
can't
big.
believe. Oh, it's also beautiful. Look how sexy this thing is.
I know.
Yeah.
Good for them, man. They nailed it. Nailed it. But yeah, it's just so small. But Jerica, if I wanted to talk about other small things, where would we go to?
You go to our last story, the Wii News channel, where we cover all the small news items you need to know about.
Welcome to Wii News. Benny B. Good says, Tim, it's average size. Jesus. This ain't average. This thing is tiny. I'm telling you.
It is.
Like, every time I look at it, because Greg has it on his desk, and sometimes I'm like, oh, I can't even find it. Just too small. Towers of Agaspa is releasing in early access on November 19th. For Mario 64, Monster Hunter Wilds open beta test announced for PS5 and Xbox Series and Steam. Crossplay is supported. PS Plus early access will be October 28th through October 30th. And then it releases for everybody October 31st through November 3rd. Character creation data transfers to the full game. That's cool. Are you interested in Monster Hunter Wilds?
Fran actually texted me about it this morning, and I was like, I never hopped into the last one. Forgot the name of it. Is the Wilds is the new one,
World.
which is the old one.
World.
World Wilds, a lot of W's. Yeah, and I'm like, I'm hopping in this time because I don't want to miss the hype train this time.
Yeah. Do you think you're going to pop into the beta here, or are you just going to wait for full release?
No, I'm gonna hop in. Yeah, I was like, hey, I got free time now, so like, text me. I'm ready.
Hell
I'm ready
yeah.
to catch the monsters.
Raj, what about you?
I like the idea of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then I don't like playing games with people sometimes. I gotta be honest. Like, I'm just like not that person where it's like, hey, hop on, let's like do a raid or whatever. Like, I can play like a few games of like Call of Duty, but I don't think I can like ever, have the crew that we're hopping on every night. I'm just not consistent, Tim. I can't be that friend. I'm
Dude,
sorry.
I'm so with you. Like,
Yeah.
the idea of playing games with friends is the coolest thing ever, but like, the scheduling of it stresses me out too much. I'm just I don't want to let people down.
Yeah, I think you and I are actually very similar when it comes to like coming home and to like put our feet up on the couch, hang out with our significant others, and just, play single player games or watch garbage television.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be like, oh, Greg, let's hop on Avengers or whatever. I mean, I don't think he's doing that anymore, but still.
He wishes he was, though.
Yeah, I know.
R.I.P. But yeah, I'm with you that I'm interested in Monster Hunter Wilds. Like, it looks super cool, and the idea of it's awesome. So I don't know. I want to at least get my hands on the sticks for it because I've never played any Monster Hunter ever.
Yeah.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool. Well, I'm gonna jump in for the first time. Then from VGC, Microsoft has released the native PS5 version of Minecraft alongside the game's latest update for all platforms. That was a confusing thing to read, but I guess it just makes sense. Okay.
What was the huh for?
Why'd they phrase that? Microsoft has released the native PS5 version of Minecraft.
Yeah. Because it was a PS4 version.
Oh.
Okay, got it. I don't know. That just didn't click in my head. Got it.
Didn't
That
click
makes
with me either. I got it now too.
Yeah,
Wow.
that
Glad I
makes
can help
sense.
everybody.
The Elder Scrolls Online has surpassed 25 million players. Wow. Congratulations, Elder Scrolls Online. And then Studio Thunderhorse, the dev behind Flynn, Son of Crimson, is shutting down. Dang. NCSoft lays off an unknown number of employees and cancels Project M and Battle Crush. God, just doesn't stop. And then a Halloween-themed No Man's Sky event called The Cursed is running, starting today.
Watch the trailer for this.
Yeah.
Look
You,
cool.
you into No Man's Sky?
I'm so into watching all the trailers and watching people play, but it's always a little overwhelming when I actually grab the stick and play.
Yeah.
But I always amazed where this game is continuing to grow and go, and pretty neat.
Yeah. I mean, God, shout out to them for still doing it.
Yeah.
Langley M. Neely says they just keep releasing updates for free. Like, yeah, it's pretty wild. Good for them. That's it for Wii News, everybody. We have like 10 more minutes. Jericho, what you been playing?
Been sort of torn, is between Neva and Metaphor. Started Neva last night and just realized, whoa, this game is really beautiful. It's good. The score already amazing. But I'm like, I don't know if I need to feel sad right now. So I need something a little bit more actiony. So I booted up Metaphor last night and played about an hour and a half. Yeah, that's what I'm playing right now.
I mean, I love that because I am in a very similar place to you. First off, you got to play Neva. Everyone should play Neva. It's 4 hours.
Yes,
brilliant game. It is very sad, but it's a hopeful sad. But similar to you, I booted up Metaphor for the first time a couple days ago, and I'm all in now. Have you played any of the previous Atlas games?
Yeah, I mean, I played my first Persona game, and that was Persona 5. So that is my frame of reference. So, and I did not think, I say that a lot, because I always like turn-based games in itself is something I don't normally lean into as much, but I got hooked on Persona 5. I loved all the characters, the way that you would play the game, have the different days where you have to like figure out how you're going to spend your time. And then the gameplay is really fun. And like, I like that challenge. So Metaphor, obviously, I was like, I think I can get into this. And yeah, I knew what I was signing up for when I started playing.
Yeah, I didn't. Like I've never played any Persona. Like I know that most people here love at least Persona 4 Golden, if not Persona 5 as well. And at Bear, it's like all of them. But yeah, playing it, it's interesting because like I didn't know about the day system and how that all works. And like I'm still wrapping my head around it. Like I'm very, very, very early in the game. Like I just got past the prologue, the demo. But yeah, it's
I didn't play the demo. Oh, am I supposed to? Is that a good thing to do before you play it? I just started playing.
No, it's the same thing. It's just the beginning of the game. It's just
cool.
the first 5 hours of the game. And then you're
like
saved.
making sure I didn't miss stuff.
No.
Helped me understand the story. I need that if I need it. Okay, good.
Your save transfers over as well. So yeah, it's brilliant for them to have done this because like I do feel like the majority of people that are going to play the free demo are going to be like, I need to keep going with this thing. So yeah, it's very cool. Roger, do you care about anything we're talking about here? Persona
like
or
the whole
Metaphor?
show, or I'm kidding. No, I booted up the demo of Metaphor, and I want to be that person, right? Like I want to fall in love with the Atlas games, but I don't know, man. Like there's some barrier there. Maybe it's the anime thing. I'm not really an anime person. I just can't get past it. Like I played like the first like 5 hours of Persona 5, 4, and now 3 Reload, and I'm probably going to do the same thing with this, but I want to find that game that gets me into the 10, 20, 30 hour range. But I don't know. Maybe this is the one. I'm going to keep on trying, but I don't know if it's going to be it for me.
Yeah, the anime aesthetic, obviously anime can be so many different things, but I feel like the anime style of the Persona games that I've seen isn't so much my vibe, whereas the like more epic Game of Thrones style, very Code Geass type thing going on with Metaphor. I'm like, oh, this is my type of anime to really like dive deep into, and I appreciate how much animation is in it, like how much actual anime cutscenes there are, like, and then the game, it's that perfect pacing to me of I'm playing the game and I feel like I'm rewarded with the next cutscene, and I feel like that's for story-based games like my favorite place to be, is that every time I'm like in the gameplay, I feel like I'm doing something to get the cutscene. Then when I'm in the cutscene, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to play again. And so far, I'm in that loop, which is great. Do you have any advice with the day system though? Because I don't really get what I'm doing. So like, is there a wrong way to play the game? Like, is there bad ways to use your days, or is it just kind of different options?
Yeah, I could say there could be. Like, I haven't got to that yet in Metaphor. I'm just at the beginning, but with playing Persona, yeah, you can definitely. I guess it depends. You're sort of right, but if you're trying to maximize like a relationship with like a certain companion to have these abilities, like you might want to start doing that, leveling up and getting certain pieces of gear. If I remember correctly, it's been a while since I played Persona 5, but yeah, you can waste your time on accident, and not get in the direction you want to go. I will say, like, obviously, my girlfriend's playing this game too. Big Persona fan, also put in like 300 hours and got the platinum. Just a beast. Very unique. I need to do a study on her. It's very interesting. But she is complaining that she feels like she doesn't have as much time in this game during the day, like not able to do as many activities.
I kind of feel that way too. Like but that's the weird thing is so far, and again, I'm very early and I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm having a good time. It feels like there's so many different things to do that it is kind of overwhelming. And like, I so far feel like I've made choices that I'm like, all right, this seems like a good thing for me to have done. But the amount of times I'm like sitting back tonight so quickly, I'm like, oh man, I really wish I could have done more things. Like it's the fear of missing out for sure. Like I feel like I'm making some wrong calls, but like all the different stats, like one of them is tolerance, where you have like tolerance of the different people. And like, I'm really into that. I don't know what it's going to affect gameplay wise, but like, I don't know what that correlates to, like power or luck or whatever. But I'm like, I'm going to be the most tolerant person in this damn world. So anytime I've been walking around seeing someone with tolerance, I'm like, that's what I'm going to do. So someone in chat tell me, is that bad? Should I be diversifying a bit more? But yeah, I'm very tolerant, everyone. Benny B. Good says, look at all the time for activities at the end. They're so much more efficient when Tim doesn't harbor the hatred for Halloween deep in his heart. Oh, we saw about the show. I thought he was talking about activities in the game. Ernie Cooper says, maybe try and diversify a bit. Okay. Drago says, it all works out in the end. Cool. All right. Big Gum says, tolerant Tim's what they call him. That's what I've been saying that since day one. TT, everybody. Social stats let you unlock more friends. Okay. Mm-hmm. Upgrading the skills helps you hang out with everyone. I love video games, man. What a what a thing. What else have you been playing? Are you interested in Dragon Age coming up?
Yeah, that's what I got time off for. Extra time off next week. I'm just living the best life. One, I get to host with you and hang out and talk about games, which is just, one of the best things this week. Number two is I have Dragon Age coming out next week. It's been so long since I've said, oh my God, I get to play a new BioWare game. What the hell? And I think this is going to be a good one. It's cooking up to be a good one based on that character creator and what I've seen. Can't wait.
Yeah.
And then, obviously y'all had a really cool guest last week, Madeline Stanley. She's going to be on my show next week. So Kayla, my co-host, is going out of town. So I was able to scoop her up before anyone else did. So really excited. But yeah,
Madeline's amazing.
Dragon Age, man, I am so ready.
Yeah. What's your game of the year so far?
Game of the year. It's a hard one to pick because I played a couple games from last year that have been like my go-to games, and one's Dave the Diver and the other is Sea of Stars. Funny enough, I know they're last year games, but I put a lot of time into those. But so far this year, what's come out this year is probably Rebirth.
Hell yes. Yeah. I love
the one I've had the most fun with is Rebirth. We did partnered with another show, Respawning and Fire, to do like a breakdown with some experts. We had, I've never played the original.
Okay.
On PlayStation, so I didn't know what I was getting into when playing all these games. I just know focal points and hey, I got to get to play in this game. I've been waiting for the remake my whole life. So yeah, I've got some lore experts in that episode to sort of help us understand what's going on in this versus the original.
You kind of need that.
It's such a fun trip.
Yeah,
it's definitely Jerica ass things because I love everything about that game and what they're doing.
Yeah, me too. I can't wait for the PS5 Pro because I've been holding off on replaying any of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth until the Pro comes out, just because it's so much better looking. So I can't wait for that. But yeah, I got a couple chapters like checked off in my head of like I'm gonna replay those when
Nice.
the Pro comes in. Are you getting the PS5 Pro?
I have another thing to share. Yes, I am. And I do have, there's a gentleman in my life. His name is Dallas. And he was able to score the 30th anniversary edition, and he's selling it to me.
What?
At the normal cost. Because he just is such a good fan and fan and friend of mine.
Congratulations.
Forever, Dallas is a sponsor of my show, and he never has to give me money.
Shout out to Dallas. That is honestly,
Dallas is the GOAT.
that's amazing. I tried so desperately hard to get it. Did not.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it. When I die, I want my ashes in it. I told my girlfriend that, like, put me in that system. That's where I want to be. Rest in peace. That's me.
Dang,
So, yes, I'm
that's
getting one.
awesome. Hell
Can't wait.
yeah. The bummer is you have to wait a couple more weeks. I don't know why they did
I
that.
know.
Like,
I
why-
know.
The PS5 Pro comes out, I think, like November 7th or something,
Yeah,
and then
like-
that's like November 23rd or something.
Yeah,
like
it's like the end of the month. I'm like, well, damn it. That sucks.
Yeah.
I guess I'll pretend to play in low res 60 FPS. I don't know. I don't even know. It's supposed to help me out a little bit there with quality and performance. So that's all I know.
Yeah.
I wanted it because it's beautiful.
Yeah. CJ Splitson says, Tim, are you playing Dragon Age? No, I am not planning on playing Dragon Age. There was a moment where I was like, maybe I'll give this one a shot, but now that I got Metaphor, I'm like, I just got to be real with myself. I'm enjoying Metaphor so much that I think I'm going to see it through. So it's like I don't got time for even thinking about a
You
game
don't.
as
'Cause,
big
like,
as
I don't
Dragon
even know
Age.
why I started it. It's a dumb decision, but I just wanted to do something before it comes out.
Yeah. So, fun stuff. Roger, are you hyped on Dragon Age?
I might check it out. I have never played a Dragon Age game before, but there's so many other games to play. Right? Like I want to play Arkham Shadow. Barrett's been talking about that. I
Yeah.
want to play Zelda. Last night I came home from woodworking and I was like, you know what? I could play all these other games. What do I boot up? Shadow Generations, and I S-ranked every level. Every level and every
Congratulations.
challenge level. So I just want to let you know that. I'm out here and I'm gaming.
I am
And
so proud of
I
you,
might put
Roger.
another 20 hours into it.
Good. What? Doing what?
True game.
Just doing it again. It's so fun.
So wait, you just did the Shadow stuff? Or what about
Yeah.
the Sonic?
No, I haven't touched Sonic. I don't believe in him. I don't like playing as him. I don't like playing as him.
God.
I hate him.
I love you and hate you so much, but that's the dichotomy of like I feel about you the way you feel about yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Yeah.
I know because I feel that way
The only reason you
too.
put more than 5 hours into Shadow Generations is because you have a little self-hate, just a little bit.
Yeah, 100%. Oh man, Jerica, thank you so much for joining us. Actually, hold on, you're wrong. I got to see if we got anything wrong. I don't think
Okay,
we
let's see.
did.
No way.
We didn't. We're perfect. Literally nothing in here. That's great. Jerica, thank you so much for joining me today. Where again can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me anywhere where you, I guess, read social media. It's at Jerkachu, like Jerka, but Pikachu, jerk at you. There. That's how you say it and look it up. But yeah, follow us on JK Games Podcast. Me and Kayla, we talk about video games, TV shows. We have another show called Clicker Bait where we discuss the Last of Us TV show, which is really fun. And hopefully for season 2, you'll have us weekly talking about each and every new episode. So yeah,
Do we have a date for season 2?
we
Are
just
we
know, I don't know like an exact date, but I feel like it's early next year, like
Yeah.
at some point. I hope they land with the similar February, March.
Yeah. Because I think
That
wasn't
makes
the
sense.
first season January, I think, but
Yeah,
Whatever.
I guess it was January, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. You're right.
Hmm.
I thought it was February.
I'm excited. For it.
Yeah.
But again, thank you so much, Jerica. Everyone, go support her, follow her at Jerkachu everywhere, and let us know in the comments below if you're let me know if you're trying Metaphor for the first time and haven't played a Persona game, because I feel like there are dozens of us, if not hundreds of us, and it's pretty cool. But stay tuned for a action-packed day here at Kinda Funny. We're about to have an awesome Gamescast following that. Greg will be reacting to Fallout, and then after that, it's going to be Greg and Andy playing through Alan Wake, the Lake House DLC. But until next time, it's been our pleasure.